Why are Longshot and Mojo Mystic champions? Terrible deals have entered the unit store, and a little reminder on Acorn spending. Yes, hello everybody and welcome back to the Friday Hammer Time edition of Marvel Contest of Champions news. And today's edition is going to be a jam-packed one full of little stories from the community, whether or not it's on Reddit, whether or not we're clarifying things when it comes to Mojo and Longshot and their classifications. We got you covered. But before we go anywhere, I just want to give a massive thanks to my current patrons, my members, YouTube members that is, and Twitch subs. And if you did have an Amazon Prime account, you can give myself a free sub. It doesn't cost you a penny. And as well, those that want to support the channel by hitting the like button, commenting, and as well sharing it and watching the video, you're doing me a solid as well. So everybody, thank you very much for all your help and assistance on the channel. But without further ado, let's get this! Now our first story begins in a squirrel store and talking about the whole thing with acorns. And this is just a reminder for those that don't know. You might be going to yourself, look, I've got leftover acorns, you've bought everything in the store. You're looking at all those baskets for that event quest and you're thinking to yourself, should I actually bother doing it? Especially with the leftover ones there. Like, what do I do next? Well, the answer is it's up to you. Look, if you want to get more acorns for something like this, which Kabam Mike even alludes to, saying, you'll be able to use them on a crystal that contains a small amount of 3 to 4 star shards, tier 4 basic fragments, but that's only meant for leftover acorns. Obviously that applies to what's going to be left over. And more than likely with this event ending in about 5 days time, it's more than likely this will be after this type of event. So it is up to you. We don't know the ins and outs of how many acorns it will cost, but do bear in mind that it's important to get the milestones and the squirrel store stuff bought first. Next up, and shout out to Trucos for putting this on the Facebook page, and this is a whole entire episode of Xmen animated series. Now if you have Disney Plus, you'll be able to see all the series, and I really can't wait for March when we get this in the UK, because I'm looking forward to binge watching a lot of the Xmen animated series from start to finish. So that is going to be so cool. But he's put together this, and obviously this is taken from a full episode about that Mojoverse. So it is important for those that maybe don't know much and want to, instead of like, you know, having to listen to a video or kind of reading up about a character, you can at least get some idea of, okay, this character exists, it has some kind of like visual presence, and go check it out. Link is in the description down below if you want to see Mojo and Longshot in some sort of animated adventure. Next up, and I think it's only justice to do like a little bit of a deep dive into this Mystic situation, because I know people have been kind of making light of the fact that Mojo and Longshot having Mystic based champions, or at least rumoured to be Mystic based champions. This is the ongoing rumour based on some data mine information from Trucos, so look, take it as kind of good sourcing that this is actually going to be a case that Mojo and Longshot are going to be Mystics. Which started many a conversation on Reddit, especially under this post. And it was kind of good as well for people to be looking at the backstories, looking at history, looking at abilities, looking at obviously research when looking at these characters. Kabam themselves did allude to the fact this year that we're putting in more obscure characters. And obviously having in a champion like Squirrel Girl, I mean, Nova's different. Nova's been a champion since about 4 years ago. People have been talking about, maybe even 5 years ago, they've been wanting that particular champion put in. But seeing these more obscure ones actually is pretty good. I know there are a lot of people that don't really get these kind of weird and obscure ones. It's kind of like, look, if it's been in the movie, it should be in the game. There's other ones out that I'd really like to see, but, you know, don't get put in. I guess we're still waiting for Charles Xavier, Professor X, but the fact is it's not really an obscure character. But as Kabam said, obscure champions are likely to be seen in 2020. And in a post by Dark Zodiac over on Reddit, kind of goes into a bit more detail, kind of talking about like magical energy blasts, controlling minds, even going as far with Longshot, saying about he has certain superhuman abilities. The mystical augmentation gave him the ability to affect probability fields. And again, as someone states, yeah, it is similar to Domino, but there are like some slight differences to it. Now if you go over to Marvel Wikia, it does state that he has a mechanical tail mounted on the back of his carriage which shoots laser stingers, which, look, you know, you kind of go, right, that's a tech, he's firing energy bolts. And continuing on from that, he also can project concussive force bolts and control minds of others, as we've learned. But also being a powerful sorcerer, it does really point this to being more of a mystic based character than it would be a tech. But look, it looks like there is a part tech, part mystic shout for this, so it is difficult for Kabam to get this right, whether they go tech or whether they go mystic. And also just talking about Longshot, the fact is, even for me, I was going like, this must be a science based on the fact he was a created being, as opposed to it being a like, you know, mutation. But the fact is, I think Kabam and the tie-in is this statement here. Longshot was genetically engineered and augmented by magical means to have certain superhuman abilities, as opposed to those being more generic or natural means like, you know, mutation that gained these superpowers. They were magically imbued in him or augmented, however you want to describe them. I think this is the reasoning for this actually being a mystic based champion. Now, where do you lie on this situation? Am I wrong? Is the whole damn system wrong? Is Kabam wrong? Do you think they should be a different class? What are your thoughts? Have them in the comment section down below. Next up, and shout out to AALLD who put this on Reddit. Now, there are a few champion options to take on Deadpool X-Force in Variant 4, and especially with the cheesy methods of the Unstoppable. Now, I have seen stuff where you can do things with Cap Marvel movie. Unfortunately, I only have the 6-star version, so I wasn't able to take a 5-star against this. Boo-hoo. But people are saying, like, there's loads of different options for this Hyperion, and as well, it looks like Gladiator Hulk is an option for you. As you can see, this kind of smooth transaction of constantly applying that heavy attack that kind of like eats the Unstoppable first and then smashes in with the other one, knocking him down, and then rinse and repeat. Obviously, do bear in mind, if you want to try this out, sometimes certain champions with a heavy attacks will be good for said methods. Others may not be as good, but obviously do try your best whenever taking on Variant 4 and difficult content. Next up, and Stinky. Yes, Stinky Offer has indeed entered into the game. Currently in the unit store, you can pick up this offer here, getting a legendary crystal, some other stuff to boot as well. I think the biggest issue for a lot of players is that, look, for £50, well, it's £54 for me. The fact is, if you try to get a 5-star from that legendary crystal, let's face it, you ain't going to get it. 20% to get a 5-star is pretty low odds. And even though it's like one of those focus crystals similar to like a Nexus crystal, I think the chances of you getting a 5-star, even though it says 20%, look, let's face it, more times out of 10, you're not going to be able to get it. One of the other questions is, what are in the pool of champions for you to get? The question has been asked on the forums and has been confirmed by Kabam Zibbit as being the following. These crystals and all other crystals contain champions include only champions who are in the basic pools unless otherwise stated. What are your thoughts on this offer though? I still think it's pretty stinky. Also, something to mention in quick update news. If you remember at the start of the week, we talked about a Mega Red's third special, and it's the Essence Still issue, where you come out of the SP3, and it's the case you haven't started like draining power off the enemy, and it's kind of annoying because you just instantly eat an SP3, which is not really in keeping with the abilities, and now there is a slight update to this story. And obviously people are mentioning that Warlock has a similar issue, and as well something could be mentioned about the distance, because that's what some people are saying, is that as soon as you come out of the SP3, that is a distance created, so therefore trying to get to the enemy in order to really kind of trigger off and steal back the power, or kind of like remove the power from the enemy. As you can see in this still here, is not there. With Kabam stating a day after we posted the Marvel Contest of Champions news on Monday, obviously this being Tuesday, January 28th, saying the videos were passed along to the rest of the team. Once more information is available to share, we'll let everyone know. And I do hope this isn't the case that then they decide to change said champions and go like, oh, well, the champions aren't acting correctly, but it's too much problems for us to change. We're going to leave them as they are. I hope that's not the case, and I hope they are fixed in keeping with how they were introduced. But I'll let you know more about that as soon as we have more information. Now on to the most complete information on arena predictions. As you know, weren't able to do them because we didn't know what the featured was going to be. Now that we know that it's Annihilus, here are my predictions. Are down below at the moment, but I'll just walk you through them. As you know from yesterday's video, or Wednesday's video actually, I went for 2.8 mil for Sunspot. It is a popular enough champion, but expected to drop around about 2.6, I think, based on hype around the champion still being there for people that want 4 stars. And as well, when it comes to Annihilus, the 3-star I think is going to go around about 800k, maybe a little bit more, but that may be just due to like a little bit of hype increase based on the rebalancing that's coming in soon. So yeah, with a 5-star and a 4-star, starting off with the 4-star, I'm going with 6.5 mil, but again, do be prepared that you may see cutoffs that are a little bit higher than 6.5 mil. I kind of feel it would be 6.2 to 6.5, but let's just say 6.5 mil to just be safe then. Sorry. And as well, the 5-star version, I'm going with 38 mil, which is a lot more than I thought I was going to go. Originally, I was going to go for about 32, 33. But again, I feel with hype around this champion a bit more nowadays, and especially after the rebalancing and what we could expect next month, we could see like a high of arena cutoffs being close to about 38 mil. But we'll see what happens on Sunday, and I might have to compare it against some old cutoffs as well, just to see where we might be with people's hype around that particular champion. And there we have it. That has been the Marvel Contest of Champions news. Check out some content that I posted yesterday just here. Make sure to support the channel over here by hitting the links. That is for the second channel and as well the membership link. Thank you very much for your support on the channel, and I'll see you in another video later on. Bye bye for now.